Welcome back, guys. This is going to be our fifth part of video tutorial series on AngularJS, Node.JS, and MySQL database that we are using. Last time, if you have been following along in this sequence of tutorials, we wrote this DAO object called create product category. And idea is that we would like to insert that record into MySQL database. And so in this tutorial, we will starting from here. So I'm gonna test it, right? So we're gonna test it right here. So that's the one thing. I want to make sure that my connection string is still pointing to get MySQL connection provider here. Earlier I was testing, how it's going to behave once it goes into production. So I had a Azure account, and then from the Azure you can subscribe to one of the MySQL database provider in the cloud. I think it's called Clear Data MySQL. You can subscribe to them, and then they give you some free data to play with. I think you can write your test application and you can see how it works. So that's what I had. I was using production and using their connection string information. So now I'm going to switch it back into a dev environment here. And then now it is correspond to my local SQL database that is running right here. Okay, let me go ahead and let's start using this one, and then okay, here's my create product category, and then I'm going to say new books, new computer science books. Oh, see, I don't know how this science books, awesome books in town, or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and create one. It says record added successfully into backend database. Okay, so our method, of course I tested a little bit. So this method right here, create product category, we were able to call it successfully, and it was able to persist the data into our backend database. So now next thing I did, so I also create a view here. I create a view product category. That's what I will show you the code for that. And once that is all done, we will be doing a live coding on how to do edit. Okay, here is some of the data that I had. This is all the junk data that I have in my system, my database. So this is the view product category, as you can see from the URL right here. So I'm pulling out the category name and the details and whether the record is active or not, and the date that was created. And this is the last one is the action column. You can, for example, edit the product category, you can view the details of the product, and you can delete the products. Okay. So let me briefly explain how this view product category looks like. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and write out edit product category live. And this one doesn't have any URL or route defined, so we'll be defining soon. So let me briefly explain. So very first thing I did was I create our view called view product category. The view is pretty simple. Of course, we would like to have our master page, our layout page, and then this is this little markup here. Let me bump the font here so that this one is just to whenever you this is just to show the title, so that in my page this is my title with the heading and the text. That information that's what this markup is for. And this is just a binding for the EJS, and it is coming out from, let me show you, this is our configuration, and create product category, and this is our route right here, view product category. And then as you can see right here, what I'm rendering is the page, the view, in this case view called view product category, along with I'm also rendering object literal with a property title called view product category. That is what being bound. here. Okay, that is done by that little markup that I showed you earlier into view product category. Okay, and then after that I have this deep tag here. Okay, that deep tag has the Angular information. I want to know the product category, that's my module, and here is my controller information, which I will show you later. And then inside that, all my grid, for example, this is my grid, this table right here, my grid, is wrapped up into another file called product category grid. And this is how I include that file into this view product category .EJS. So basically I give this, a container is a class that comes from the Bootstrap. And inside that I have a table. And let's look at the markup into product category grid. This is very simple. All I have is basically a table, and this table has I would like to show the table if I have data in my one of the property that is bound to the controller. That's why I'm using data ng show, one of the AngularJS directive. And after that I have this Bootstrap class for the table, so it kind of looks like this. It has all those things, and just the table heading. And then, so basically I have product categories as object that's coming out from a backend, and all I'm doing right here is just a binding with the different properties of this object. Okay, and of course, this person right here will be writing code for the edit portion. So do a live coding for this one and for the delete also. Okay, that is all I do for that is all I did for the markup portion. Now let's look it into our controller. And here, in terms of JavaScript, of course, here also I need AngularJS, and here's my AngularJS in the same module right here and the same service. And only different this time from the create product category is just the view product category controller. So basically I added additional controller called view product category controller, which is right here. This controller is pretty simple. So basically what I have here is a view product category controller with I injected some of the services that I need, some of the services provided by the Angular, like scope and timeout, and this is our custom service, a factory service, right? And then these three services are being injected into our controller. And this is our controller right here. And very first thing I did, I just defined this my product categories. And then as soon as I define this one, I have a method. I call the method called get product categories. The whole, whenever this method gets invoked, this is the implementation of this method. So it goes into the service. You can ask for the service, hey, go and fetch all the data without any restriction. And then if the results comes out from the backend, from the server side successfully, then I got the data, which is data is an object literal also, which has a property called product categories. If there is a data and data contains a property called that, and then if there is at least some data in it, then just go ahead and set that property called product categories, and all the binding, of course, everything automatically takes care by the AngularJS. Okay, now that is done, let's briefly look into our service. The service is very easy. It's just two lines of code. Get our product categories, and using the HTTP Angular service, call this endpoint or this route, get all product category. Okay, that is it. And then let's look into this get all product category, how we have done that configuration. That configuration is, as you know, we do that configuration in the product category route config. Okay, this is the route that I had to add. So this route is a GET. Request type for this one is GET, because you can also test, because just by looking at this one, well, I will explain to you briefly. You can also verify that this feature is working correctly. If I go in, let me open new of this and call this GET product category. As you can see, it's returning the JSON data from the backend server, from the backend MySQL database, because this is the REST. Okay, so it doesn't have any corresponding view to render. It's returning a JSON data for us. Okay, let's look at it one at a time. This request type is GET, and this is my request URL, GET out product category, as you can see right here. And then this is my callback function. The callback function in line number 94 has a request and response. And of course, it has to have a reference to my DAO object. Once I require the DAO object, inside that I have a method called get all product category that we wrote last time. And then of course, when I invoke this method, I pass the callback function with the product categories as the data. And then, so basically, once this data comes out from the server, I just return this as a JSON data to my caller. That is all. With this code, now we are able to create our view. We can view our data. I would like to do one more thing in my. I would like to. There isn't right now. There is no ordering. It's a. Let's put an order. On order by ID in descending order. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see if that changes would work. And once that is done, we'll start writing code. Okay, that's good news. So if I add the new category, computer software in town, I'm adding additional category here, and if I go into view product category, okay, that's the the most recently added record. I want it to be on the top. That's okay. That is good. So next thing we're going to do, of course, now we're going to write this feature called edit product category. Since the good thing is, if you have followed along in this tutorial, now we have kind of like a framework, and we will utilize those to write the code starting from now. It's really you will see it will be a lot easier now. We don't have to go and create our one little framework, right? Okay, in here, very first thing I'm going to do, I want to just set the URL. Let's go. Let's go ahead and close a bunch of files that we don't need. I'll close over this so it doesn't look very cluttered. Into the grid here, starting from here is my drop down. This is the edit product category. So let's give it a route for this href. So we're going to say edit product category, right? And then when we edit this, we also need to pass. We need to pass the ID of the current product. So we're going to say product category dot, it has a property called ID. So this is how our URL going to look like. But of course, if this URL doesn't exist, when let's see how it can behave. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page. And if I go in here and edit product category, it is saying, okay, this is a route, it's okay. But however, we have not defined, we haven't done any configuration. It says it doesn't exist. Okay. Very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add this page, add this view into our project. We go into view and we're going to add new view here. Okay, cool. So of course you will be using the same template, so let's grab this little bit of code and copy that one into there. Okay, we have a page now. Of course we have a page, but we haven't defined the route. That's the next thing we're going to do. Let's go ahead and go into this configuration file and add a new route into our route table. This route is going to be very similar to this one, so I'm going to grab this code and modify the feature that I need to add. So it's going to be get, and it's going to be edit product category, and of course I have to also define here because it requires the ID, so I have to define the request param, right? So let's say a product category ID, some kind of placeholder. And then it's, of course, it should go into here called, oops, Control G. I think I copied everything. Okay, copy that one, and I'm going to change the name of the title. So instead of create product category, it would be an edit product category. Okay, let's save that one. If I run this one and if I go into that, it should work. We should have a new view to write our code. I want to go into view product category and go into edit. Awesome. See, our view is now defined. We can start writing code. Of course, very first thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a title so people kind of know, well, our user know that we are into edit page, right? To define a template, of course, I have a very, we're just going to grab the code from one of the pages. All we have to do is just grab this page here, this markup here. And the other thing we can do, I'm thinking, like, since this markup is being shared by so many other pages, we can create a new page and just basically write one line of code. We can do include. That would be a good idea. Let's go ahead and do that one. That would be so we can share our code, you know. So it's going to be a page title that, and now instead of writing this 1, 2, 3 line of code, I just can write one line of code into our edit product category. Let me go ahead and close bunch of clutter. Include the new page new view that we just added. New page called page title. Okay, let's go ahead and save this one. And then if I run this page now, and if I go into that, of course, the same page, so it's working. It's at that automatically. So of course, we can put this code into other pages also, but you got the idea. The whole idea is like, we can share the code like this using this EJS template. Okay, that is good. Next thing we're going to do, of course, like the layout, the markup of the edit. If you look it into a create product category, the markup right here for the edit would be very similar to this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the markup from the create product category into edit. Also, let's do that one. is our create product category, and we don't need this one, we already added, and just grab everything properly here except this this is the script tag. Okay, I'm going to do that later, so I'm going to go ahead and add those into our edit page. Of course, there will be error in terms of JavaScript because we don't have a lot of Angular related stuff, but still the HTML should be fine. We go ahead and refresh this page, go in here, create product category. Oops, sorry for that, guys. Here, edit product category right here. Okay, of course, this is I remember like I had that markup to display when you click the button, because I don't have any binding, any ng app or ng controller, none of them exist, so it does, and not a it is showing you the binding text, AngularJS binding text. That's okay, we'll fix it. Okay, that is good. So we have a page, and of course we're going to change this label instead of this product. We don't please enter product category. We don't. I think it's okay. We can leave this label and everything as it is. However, we're going to change this. We're going to say edit product category. So here, that should be pretty easy to fix. Edit product category button. That is all right. And now, next thing I'm going to do, starting from here, I'm going to go ahead and add a new controller here. This is a product category controller. I'm going to say this is where all our Angular related stuff is here. Okay. Into product category, I'm going to add. Let me copy this one and rename this. Okay. I would like to have very small JavaScript file, and it's featured in different file. That way, if something goes wrong, I just have to modify one file instead of breaking all the other things. Since the application is running, it doesn't allow me to rename it. I'm going to go ahead and close it. And let's go ahead and rename this guy. Instead of view, I'm going to name this guy as edit product category. Edit product category controller. Okay. So edit product category controller, and then of course you're going to change your controller name also here, and it goes in here in this main method. This scope is okay. We need a timeout, we need the service, everything should be injected as it is. Okay, so think about so very first thing we need is we need to be able to read this ID from right here, okay, from the AngularJS. But to do that, I'm going to write the little method here into the service, so that in the reason I'm going to write that logic into the service is that if later on we'll be writing the delete feature, that feature also requires to grab the ID from the query string. Not even query string, but from the URL. So instead of writing it there, let's go ahead and write that into the service. Okay. Here's my I'm in my service right here. So I'm going to define a little method here. A little method called get ID from endpoint or something. It's going to be a function. We'll be playing with some JavaScript, guys. There must be a better way, but just for the demo purpose right now, I'm just going to do some hacky way to grab that ID. I'm going to grab the absolute URL we can use to do that, we can use a location service. Since we don't have a location service injected into our service yet, we will inject that one. And it has a method called absolute URL. So this method basically gives you the whole thing. Okay. Well, when I say whole thing, this basically gives you that. Now we got the absolute URL, and we need to let's define variable called segment here. We are looking for the last segment. So from the absolute URL, we can call a split method. And what we will be splitting on would be this backward slash character. The forward slash. Now we have a bunch of segments, right? So basically, we know if we split that one, category. That's what we're looking for. Product category ID, and we'll have segment. That isn't our array, right? Because when we use a split, it gives you array. And into that, we are basically looking for the last item from that segment. Let's make these little mini segments that make more sense than segment. We'll have array. So that's the segments. In that segment, we're looking for the segments that length -1. That would give us the last thing, which in our case basically the ID. So so it's just going to be then, once that is all done, we're just going to return the product category ID. Oops, I don't mean to do that. Okay, now we obtained the ID. Of course, it's not really ideal code, but it will work. Okay, that is done. Get ID from endpoint. Okay, so that way, once it is, if we write this one into a service, so I don't have to write it anywhere else in my controller, I just right away I can go ahead and start using it. Here's my okay, let's, based on our edit product category, we have product category with a category name, and we have product category detail, those two pieces of information. So I have a little bit of code into the product category controller. It's very similar to this guy here. I'm going to grab this one. Okay, now instead of having a method called get out product category, in this case we'll have a method get product category by ID, because okay, the reason because we are trying to fetch data based on this ID right here in the backend database. It's just the primary key of the table, so it just always going to be 1-to-1. So get this, and the implementation of this method going to be pretty simple. That, and then of course now let's pass the ID to it, and of course we just define a method in the service called that to grab the data. We just define this, get ID from endpoint. We're just going to call to grab the ID. So of course none of these methods exist in the service. Get product category by ID will be defined. We'll be starting from the controller and go to service and go to our configuration and eventually write the DAO. Okay, that's our idea. Okay, so now we have a get product category by ID, and we pass the ID to that method, and if it's successful, it's going to grab the data. And here, of course, what we're trying to do here is basically trying to set category name and category details. So once the data comes out, we can write a little method here. Populate, just say a bind view, and pass this categories. I was just going to pass the very first one because I know it's always going to be 1 if it exists. You can define this method like this. And of course, this method doesn't exist, so we have to go ahead and write it. The function bind view, and it's going to be a product category, one category, right? So given the product category, now we can go ahead and basically set the data into to our view. Let's the first parameter is a category name, the first property, in that would be product category. So what that property belongs would be category name. Okay. And then another property is called category details. And that property corresponds to details. By doing this, so what happens is like, well, of course, right now it's not going to work as it is because we haven't defined our service, our route, our data access object, none of those. But once everything is done, so basically this goes into this endpoint, grab one of the item by the ID. If it data comes out successfully, we just we don't have to do this one, of course. This is not a part of it. We're just going to say bind this one once the data comes out. Well, of course. Well, I don't really even need to do this one because I'm not doing that bind. I can simply say this. That would work. Once, of course, once everything is defined. Bind view. Of course, it has to be missing the. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to define our get product category by ID method into our service here. Let me go ahead and close a bunch of files. So in our service here, we're going to add a new method. Product category ID. This is going to be a GET request, right? Very simple. So we're going to use this return HTTP GET and define our endpoint GET product category by ID, and of course, we need to pass this product category ID. product category ID. That is all we have to do here. Our service is done. So if we call this method, it will go into this, but of course we haven't done configuration. It might not be, well, it's definitely not going to find it. We can just test this one. We are looking something like, okay, get product category by ID. So we have this kind of REST method. This is what kind of looking for. You're gonna say, hey, I don't know what you're looking for right now. See, it doesn't exist, which is okay. That's what we're trying to define. Okay, that I would like to do in the next upcoming video tutorial. Thank you so much for viewing my videos tutorial and learning. Anyway, guys, keep on learning and share the code that you guys have written. Anyways, it's been fun writing this code. I'll be, soon I'll be recording next video tutorial and uploading into my YouTube account. Have a good day, guys. Thank you.